attend primary school for free, and we had no budget to do so. You know, in Haiti, the government only finances 30% portion of its budget. So we raise from customs and taxes, about $1 billion out of a $3 billion budget. The rest comes from international aid. So a lot of it doesn't come directly to the government. So we really see about $900 million. And we have to run the whole country and all the government programs with that. So it comes with innovative financing, finding new sources of revenues, and not solely depending on the existing sources of revenues that we have. So what we did very quickly is that we added a surcharge to phone calls to Haiti of 5 cents per minute. That went into financing those tuition scholarships for the children. That's what helped increase the attendance rate, because all of a sudden, and again, I want to thank you all, because you are contributing to children's education in Haiti. You are making an impact where it counts, simply by calling Live Beyond, if you're calling in Haiti, or any organization. When you make a call, you contribute to sending children to school.
Very interesting.
So that brought in about $40 million for the first year in order to pay the school tuition. It's a program that has 10,618 schools in it. There is about close to 4,000 teachers that are participating in the program. And right now there is 1.4 million children that are attending the program. It needs to get to about 3 million. But where we actually cover the tuition for them. But we are looking at reforming the education system, and that's what I was working on before I left, which was taxing, having a vice tax, alcohol, tobacco, that would raise an additional $60 million to then put everybody in school for free. Because right now the parents have to cover part of the tuition. And this is a problem that I've been hearing, and that creates basically the parents leaving children behind because of it's poverty related. And when you look at the GDP per capita of Haiti, it's about $750 a year. And if the family is to pay for children tuition, that's $220 per year for that child. Yeah. And the average Haitian family has between 4 to 5 children. So you see that the last 2 will be left behind, and will be either abandoned, or will go into child slavery, or will have some type of issue. It's poverty related. So by having this education program, we're taking the load off of the parents, and therefore it's also an anti-poverty program that lessens the burden on the family, so that they can focus on having a better distribution for the rest of the children and protect the family as a whole.
And that is education, as we know, is so fundamental in terms of economic development, sustainability, lifting the country up. Most immediately after everything has collapsed is housing. How is housing and infrastructure? A lot of organizations here participate in housing programs. But how, in terms of the acute response, the midterm, and the recovery, and then the post-recovery, how is housing right now?
One, the acute response has been, of course, the rubble removal. We had the equivalent of 4,000 Olympic pools worth of rubble that needed to be removed. Now, if you go to Haiti, you will not see any sign in the capital of any rubble anymore. It's been totally cleared, and that was a major undertaking. That was probably the most difficult undertaking, because we didn't have the equipment. We had to acquire the equipment, we had to acquire the knowledge, we had to acquire the sites where the rubble would be relocated to. It was just a very difficult enterprise, but we managed to do it.
And the destruction, I mean, it just collapsed. It's not like collapse here, it's collapsing the roads and transportation. You couldn't even get around various port-au-prince and communities, cities all over the country. And you don't have the heavy equipment. So you're talking about huge, massive structure, concrete. There's no way to move it. There's no way people can move it. Some things you just couldn't do it. So it's massive. And when you first went down, that's all you saw. Everything had collapsed in the streets, collapsed on each other, totally done. So I thought that would take 10 years to do. So that was number one. And then what about
So that was the number one. The second thing is that we had a government program to build social housing. So we built about 3,000 homes and fixed many other homes. And through many organizations, NGOs, faith-based organizations, that helped a lot in fixing a lot of the other homes that were built. And people also with remittance, a lot of remittance went in that time to rebuild some of the homes that were destroyed. So in the relocation program that we've had, what we did is that we didn't just basically move the people. We had to move them based on a dignity-based strategy, because we didn't want to move people and then just clear them and leave them on the street. So we actually provided a rent subsidy for a year, and the homes in the original neighborhoods, we fixed the homes, and they move back to that neighborhood, and then we give them a stipend for open micro enterprise, whether to sell sugar cane or whatever, but to give them the opportunity to have a small business and be lifted out of poverty. The whole poverty strategy, why I'm so big about it, is that you cannot talk about development if you don't focus on poverty reduction in Haiti. A lot of people talk about development and then they forego the poverty reduction side, and it just cannot happen. And it has to happen through job creation, massive job creation, and changing the laws, making the laws more adaptable to today's time, modernize the economy by making Haiti basically, the Haitian people want to work. And we have a great labor, we have a great labor force, we have beautiful sites, we have rich culture. If you go to Haiti, in the northern part, there is beautiful sites to visit. The Citadel, where we resisted the French. We have sun, year-round, and sandy beaches. And I like to talk about that as well as, because that's also a way to fight poverty. Because you fight poverty based on social welfare programs, but then you have to find economic incentives as well to lift people out on a sustainable way.
I think that point is key. I wanted to, first of all, take, it's part of the sustainability of the Clinton Bush Fund, and one of the early things we did, because all of the artists who are there, and all of you have seen the tremendous Haitian physical art, dance, song, but many of the artists had, obviously studios were destroyed, their homes were destroyed, they were destroyed. So one of the things we did is we took 300 artists that were chosen from around Haiti, let them come together and choose the best 20, and then those best 20 we had promote them and had cooperatives set up, and then started marketing that art over in Europe, United States, Canada. And so when you go into Macy's now and you see the setup of Haitian art, but the whole idea of taking Haitian culture and beauty, we talked earlier this morning, a travel destination, all of it, and I mentioned the hotels, so training hotel staff to be able to be hospital and treat people. Comment on the importance of the Haitian culture in economic development, sustainable economic development.
Well, you spoke about certainly, the culture of Haiti is certainly, a way to develop the country. I mean, whether it's arts and crafts, whether it's painting, whether it's the rich cultural sites that we have a story to tell. And we have a story that all of you certainly want to hear. So the hotel strategy is actually one that I personally championed and that I pushed forward, because myself, I was out of Haiti, I was in Miami, actually with the president. We were in Little Haiti, and when we were watching on TV, and then we saw the earthquake and we saw the devastation, and we wanted to do something and go back. But when I went back, I wanted to stay in the hotel because my house was destroyed, but there was no hotel.
Yes.
So how can you develop, you bring economic development to a country, and then it has to come through investments, and then you have no lodging facility because everything was destroyed. So when Clinton Bush Fund, helped with the building of the hotel, many people didn't understand.
Oh, it's huge, because people had given their dollars from the United States to the Clinton Bush Fund, imagining the traditional ways where we all were, of supporting an orphanage or supporting a school, and then all of a sudden, the Clinton Bush Fund was investing in a hotel in a joint venture with Haitian people and business people there. They didn't get it, because foreign aid, we look at just sort of the straight charitable without looking at the sustainable job creation, having a home, training the hotel workers.
And transforming certainly the area, bringing value in all the area, creating business opportunities for the surrounding area. So now we have five hotels in 3 years. And certainly if you go, and the Marriott just opened, and the significance of the Marriott. Yesterday I was discussing it at Cheryl's house, the significance of having Marriott Hotel in Haiti. You know, many of you think of Marriott, if you drive down the street, you know, you pass next to a Marriott, it's no big deal. Well, for us, it's a huge deal. Because it's not the Marriott, but it's the significance of having the Marriott showing that Haiti is indeed recovering and on a path of progress. Yeah. Certainly. And so having the culture and having the tourism infrastructure in place will bring development and will bring sustainable job creation and in turn will reduce the poverty. The poverty levels have gone down from, according to the latest World Bank numbers, from 31 to 24%, and in the metropolitan areas from 20 to 5%. And we're talking about extreme poverty levels. So there's been progress in that regards. And certainly there is, with the U.S. Assistance, there is a major industrial park that was built, and a lot of criticism has been, given unfairly to that park. And certainly President Clinton has been, very active in that park. But that park is in the north. It's doing Tommy Hilfiger jeans, and it's creating 5,000 jobs in that area to people that there was no way for anybody in the northern region to get a job. Today they have the opportunity to have a better life, to improve their living standard by having a job, and they can send their children to school, they can feed others, and really, it should be commended and it should be multiplied in many other regions in the country to create a massive amount of jobs. So with the tourism strategy, security strategy, somebody mentioned that there were security issues. The security has improved a lot in the past 3 years. It's become the 5th safest destination in the Caribbean, and we have a tourist police now to look after, for example, and again, it has to be just coordinated and organized, but it's available for if you bring large groups. We have a unit in the police force that takes care of only that. So I just want to
that issues come up. But I think this expansion, again, we might